How we should breathe in everyday life. There are 14 aspects of the body to be mindful of. They are well expounded in Mahastipatthana Sutta. Of course, it is very closely and precisely related to the type of meditation, but it is not away from us. It is just in us. Therefore, if we are willing to do, we can do any time we want. The meditation technique taught by the Buddha is not far away from us. It is just like a button on the wall to turn on the light. In the dark room or in the dark evening, we just need to learn how to press on it. That's all. It's truly significant when you compare it to any other forms of meditation across the world, such as reading mantra, recitation of some prayer words, and so on. We can be mindful of everything in any posture, sitting, walking, standing, reclining. When we are doing something in one of these postures, we can be mindful of whatever we are doing simply. It will develop a quality of life and practice. And actually, we are all breathing every day. It is not because we are Buddhist or Christian or Muslim or Hindu or Jewish, but because we are living beings. Therefore, we are breathing regardless of any name and label and any faith and belief. If we are not breathing, we will be a dead person. The Buddha teaches us simply how to breathe mindfully. Normally, we are not used to mindfully breathing, even though we can do it easily. But we did not have such knowledge how to breathe mindfully. Here I just want to tell you the difference between human being and animal, but I believe that you have already known about it. We should sometimes interestingly learn the difference between human being and animal. Animal has no extent knowledge like human being. Even if we argue that they have, it would be very limited. This is the reason why they cannot do everything like human being. We human beings can learn everything and can do everything as cleverly as possible because we are intelligent, smart, and able to learn things so quickly. Now, here we should just learn how to breathe mindfully by paying attention to the rhythm of in-breath and out-breath. This is how the Buddha teaches us to do because we knew the benefits of doing this. And you will see how wonderful it is when you do it. However, animals going with the nature. They have a natural greed, a natural hatred, and so on. They are more honest than human beings because they have a lack of extended knowledge. They know only how to eat and how to sleep and how to chase after and so on. If we human beings can do just this, we will be living like animal even though we are human beings. How unbeneficial we are in this wonderful planet when we all live alive if we go like animal. Animal are breathing. Human being is also breathing, but we should breathe as human being. Majority of us are not breathing like a human being even though we have the ability to learn things. We have intelligence, we have a knowledge. Therefore, we should learn everything the best we can for both our worldly and spiritual life. Then how should we breathe like human beings? The Buddha advises how we should do it. The Buddha said that we should breathe mindfully by paying attention to the rhythm of in-breath and out-breath, not to miss it from the beginning to the end. Why do we have to do like that? It is because we need to keep our mind fit and we need to purify our mind from the stress. Stress and other negative emotions usually come along with our unhealthy mind, afflicted by undesirable and disagreeable experiences of social and economic issues in our day-to-day life, regardless of any faith. When we pay a close attention to the rhythm of in-breath and out-breath very mindfully from the beginning to the end, we will see there is no stress at all at the moment when we are doing like that. Then our mind is pretty purified by doing so. When our mind is purified, our vision will be clear, our target to a particular solution would be very clear. Our goal will satisfactorily be set and achieved finally. How beneficial it is when we breathe like human beings. It is a very practical approach to how we should breathe in everyday life. We will see no doubt about the way you breathe in and you breathe out when you are mindfully paying attention to your own in-breath and out-breath. This way will really purify our mind from stress you have experienced in daily activities. This is the point why we should do this meditation in everyday life. It is not just a piece of religious advice to make our mind healthy, keeping it away from stress. You can experience only when you do it. The way you have to do is just not difficult at all. It is so simple, but you are restless when you do it. Your unhealthy mind will keep you saying, oh, it is not for me. I want to get rid of my stressful feeling as quickly as possible. But this technique is so slow to make me feel better. However, I want to remind you to go ahead because our stupid mind has never agreed with us and is always arguing with us. It has made us a trouble so much and so long by persuading us to do as it wants. This breathing practice is, even though slow to benefit, is quite effective and very powerful when you get it. If we follow a stupid mind suggestion, we may go astray and we may misled to a wrong direction. Therefore, we must be careful of it. It is my experience, and it is the way how it made my mind healthy. I just honestly want to share it with you so that you can live life beneficially, healthily, and happily. There is nothing to do with the business in my book. I'm not selling the Buddha's teaching as a commodity, but want to share it with you so that you can get beneficial as I do. The technique itself is really interesting and it makes us truly experience with our own being when we do it properly in everyday life. The Buddha taught us to do how we should breathe mindfully in sitting posture. We need a longer time to train ourselves with a mindful attention to our breath. Sitting posture is much better than any other postures to do breathing mindfully. It will take time to see the breathing as it is. However, you are not wasting your time while doing mindfully breathing in sitting posture because it develops your power of mindfulness, concentration, and purity of mind. It may take an hour at least to do it effectively and to experience with it quite properly. Breathing mindfully even for 5 minutes in sitting posture is just better than nothing. Just better than nothing. We need more time to do it, but it is very entertaining for me whenever I do it because it is really interesting to me to watch such a simple in-breath and out-breath mindfully. There are so many things interesting in an hour of sitting meditation by paying attention to the breath. At the same time, you can see your monkey mind jumping around and playing with the different objects. When your concentration and mindfulness become a bit powerful in a sitting meditation, it is also removing your stress, worry, anxiety, and depression, and so on. Practically, you do not need to ask anyone for whether it is right or wrong because you yourself experience with it when you are doing this. One of the excellent qualities of Dhamma is ehi pasiko, come and see. It does not say come and believe. The quality of a Dhamma is proven by your own practice and experiences with the technique, and it is fit for its essence taught by the Buddha. When you are experienced with something you are testing, you can see that it is scientific. If it is scientific, there is no doubt in your understanding. This is the quality of the Dharma, the teaching of the Buddha or Buddhism in modern time. This is the reason why the Dharma has nothing to do with the religion and religious sense. Religion trains us unquestioning faith. But the Dharma trains us investigating and observing quality of mind. Religion makes us closed and the Dharma makes us open. Religion divides humanity, but the Dharma harmonizes humanity. Religion forces us to do anything by unquestioning faith, but the Dharma teaches us to learn things critically. These are the differences between religion and Dharma, between the sense of religion and the sense of Dharma. Even in the Dharma of how you should breathe in everyday life, you can experience with the direct contact. There's no interval between you and the instruction and the technique you practice, how you should breathe mindfully. We should do in a sitting posture or position to follow the instruction of how we should breathe in everyday life. There are two ways to do it, formal and informal. In the retreat, you have to follow formal instruction of a sitting posture, of course, to be mindful of your breathing. In formal sitting posture, you have to sit cross-legged, have to keep your mind, you have to keep your back straight and switch on your attention to be mindful of the rhythm of your in-breath and out-breath. Then place your hands rested in your lap and close your eyes softly. Then you have to start being mindful of the rhythm of your own in-breath and out-breath. You have to be mindful of them just as they are without naming and labeling on them. You should be ready for 1 hour sitting by paying attention to your own breath. It is the training course in the retreat center. You must not move your sitting posture very often to steadily concentrate on the rhythm of breathing in and breathing out. If you move very often, you cannot easily get concentrated, and you have to breathe in mindfully. You have to breathe out mindfully by paying attention to the in-breath and out-breath, by realizing from the beginning to the end. Only then will you be able to achieve a quite good enough concentration as easily as possible. Of course, I'm sure that you will see no stress, no anxiety, no depression when you are mindfully paying attention to the rhythm of in-breath and out-breath from the beginning to the end, because your mind at the moment is disconnected with external objects, but are closely and precisely connected with yourself internally. This is the reason why this practice can remove stresses and strains of a public life. If you do not achieve a good enough concentration, your monkey mind will still be restless and agitated, jumping around one object after another. Then you may probably feel much worse with this technique of mindfulness, mindfully breathing. Actually, the technique is simple and can help us keep our mind healthy and strong by purifying our mind from the pollution of stress and all kinds of mental defilements risen from the contact to the external sensual objects. Our monkey mind is used to jumping in sensual objects and happy to be with them. The technique that guides us how we should breathe is not a problem, but our monkey mind itself is a bigger problem, bringing a lot of trouble to us very restlessly. It is always happy to be with the external sensual objects. This is the reason why the Buddha teaches us this way how we should breathe in everyday life, to wisely stay away from the external sensual objects without being annoyed by them. And in formal sitting posture, I honestly recommend that you should take a 7 days training course of mindfulness-based Vipassana meditation retreat with me to learn the lesson and put into practice under my guidance, so that you can closely be guided by the one who has been practicing for himself most of the time and guiding others who want to do it for years. I'm really ready to help those who want to do this meditation in daily life. When you are closely guided to do this meditation, you will easily get used to it. Only then will you be able to do it formally or informally in your day-to-day life. Only then will you be quite familiar with the way how you should breathe in everyday's life. Only then will you get benefited from your practice. Everything you need to do is to learn it from an experienced master of this meditation and to put it into practice attentively, intensively, and diligently, because it is not religious or rite or ritual. This method, how we should breathe in everyday's life, is not only theoretical or philosophical knowledge, but also a practical approach with its training to get used to it. Therefore, just by reading books on the method, it would not work out properly, but you need to put into practice in the training course, closely guided by the one who has practiced so far. The method itself is very scientific and practical. There is nothing to do with the mere philosophy or with the faith of a religion. This is the reason why I have accepted it and practiced for myself for more than 2 decades and try to share it with those who really want to do it. Otherwise, I will not do so, and I will not try to teach people too. How can I teach people something I'm not clear, and that I do not understand clearly, and that I cannot accept it? After you have taken a formal sitting course of mindfulness-based vipassana meditation that guides you how you should breathe in everyday's life, you will get easier to do it even at home or at work or at the office, or finally even in the toilet. How practical it is. No superstitious belief or faith is necessary to do with it, but you need a practical understanding and a practical approach too. It is not as easy as an unquestioning faith at all. It is really a wonderful method how we should breathe in everyday's life taught by the Buddha. I got it from the Buddha, and it benefited me in many ways. Now I honestly want to share it with you so that you can live a life wisely, happily, meaningfully, and practically without being suffered from unnecessary thoughts and emotions. And it is also the technique to manage emotions correctly. Otherwise, I will not share it with you by wasting my precious time. How we should breathe in the living room at home. This is another subtitle. When you are in the living room at home, instead of reading a newspaper or magazine or watching TV, and which a lot of crazy news are entertaining to you, please comfortably sit down in the chair. Close your eyes softly, keep your back erected, place your hands rested in your lap, and then switch on your attention and start by mindfully paying attention to the rhythm of your own breath. This is the first step. Just by mindfully following the rhythm of your own in-breath and out-breath, please try to mindfully breathe in and mindfully breathe out for half an hour. This is the way how we should breathe in everyday's life, even in the living room. Only then will you truly experience with your own breath and your own feelings and thoughts very closely and attentively. It will train you to get used to it day by day. At work. When you are a bit free from work in the office hours for a certain reason, try to find a place near your work and sit down comfortably somewhere on a chair, or breathe in mindfully and breathe out mindfully. Instead of being distracted by some sense objects, you can refresh your mind by doing so. It is also how we should breathe in everyday's life. At your office desk. When you are sitting on the chair at your office desk, if there is nothing special to do, if you have enough time to do how you should breathe mindfully, you can do it there as soon as possible. Close your eyes softly, keep your back straight and switch on your attention, then start doing to mindfully breathe in and mindfully breathe out so that you can refresh your mind instead of being distracted. It is also how we should breathe in everyday life. In the toilet, when you are in the toilet, sit down in the toilet seat comfortably. Of course, keeping your back straight is necessary wherever you are and whenever you do for mindfully breathing in and out in a sitting posture. Close your eyes softly and place your hands rested in your lap. Then switch on your attention to mindfully breathing in and mindfully breathing out. Do it as long as you are on the toilet seat. If it is for 5 minutes, do it for 5 minutes. If it is 10 minutes, do it for 10 minutes. It is also the way how we should breathe mindfully. If you don't do it like that in the toilet, your monkey mind will have a chance to play around. Then you will be unnecessarily distracted. Distracted mind makes us tired. Restful mind makes us wiser. Therefore, you can choose which way you want to go to even when you are doing toilet, and which way you will make yourself benefit. It is also how we should breathe in everyday life. It is called mindfulness meditation too. In the bathroom, as soon as you sit down in the bathtub, mindfully breathe in and mindfully breathe out for a while. Then you should go with the sensation by mindfully paying attention to any situation you feel at the moment without naming and judging on it so that you can see it as it is. When you do it, you must mindfully observe how it rises and how it passes away. This is the point. You have to deal with the sensation. When you are mindful of just a sensation repeatedly, it is the task of a mindfulness. But when you see the sensation that rises and passes away, it is called vipassana. It is called mindfulness-based vipassana meditation. It is an extension of how we should live in everyday life. I'll explain it more in detail later. Nowadays, scientific research is tracing the entire path of the Buddha's teaching, which is connected with the mindfulness meditation. Of course, when you say mindfulness, vipassana must be included. Otherwise, the path you follow is just halfway to join the path discovered by the Buddha. Though vipassana meditation is different from mindfulness meditation, it must be based on mindfulness meditation, of course. Even halfway of the path discovered by the Buddha can be proven by scientific research, and these days, if it is a full path, you can imagine how much more you will achieve. It means the way how you have to breathe mindfully, or mindfulness meditation, or mindfulness-based vipassana meditation can be proven by science nowadays. It will not be isolated in a religious practice anymore. Nowadays, it is not only practiced by the Buddhists alone, but also practiced by non-Buddhists across the world. Science is really wonderful to find out what is really going on in something else. At the same time, the Buddha's Dharma is inviting inspection. It embraced scientific sense when it came to the world. Many scientists, including Albert Einstein, believe that Buddhism can go with the science together harmoniously. For example, when you're mindfully paying attention to the rhythm of your breath as it comes in and as it goes out attentively and intensively, you'll find that there is no space for stress, anxiety, depression, and any other defilement to enter your mind. Even if you do it for 5 minutes long, you will be away from such a kind of emotional states that disturb you very closely almost every second. When you do mindfully breathing in and mindfully breathing out, it brings you scientific benefits. It is proven by science in these days. This is the reason why mindfulness meditation becomes popular across the world, even if it is halfway to the path discovered by the Buddha. It is really a practical approach to our day-to-day life. I explain it to you just short to the point, how useful it is in everyday life. It should not be stopped at the theory, but should be practiced. It should not be recited as religious prayer, but you should to put it into practice. Is faith in a certain God necessary to do it? It is a good question. When you do this meditation, you can clearly see that there is nothing to do with any sort of religious faith. Even if you have a religious faith, it will not matter too much, because this way of living has nothing to do with any faith you have practiced. Of course, it is the way taught by the Buddha, but your faith in Buddhism is also not necessary to proclaim publicly as long as you do not want to do it. Even if you have such a faith in Buddhism, you do not need to mention about it, and you do not need to proclaim about it too, because the technique does not need to do like that. It is just inviting you to practice as much as you can. The longer you practice it, the better you will experience with it, and the more clearly you will see how it works with you. This is the point that the technique concerns. The most important thing you need is your willingness to do it, and your enthusiasm, your interest in it, your ability to learn it, and to put it into practice as you study mathematics, chemistry, physics, and the likes. No matter whether you have a faith in Buddhism or Islam or Christianity or Hinduism or Judaism, the technique has nothing to do with such a term, faith or belief. How open it is and how welcoming it is. You will see there is nothing to do with any religion when you practice or follow this way of life and taught by the Buddha. Religion is always restricting and dividing humanity. Buddhism or the Buddha's teaching, or called the Dharma, whatever you call it, is not restricting and not dividing humanity, but trying to bring us closer to each other, to harmonize all of us in a society. Believe me, no God will punish you when you do this, because you do not need to blame, condemn any God or any religion, anyone or anything. You do not need to reject and remove any principles of universal ethics common to all. This practice will make you even stronger to live in a humanity, even stronger to live in harmony with the people wherever you are in the world, because this does not go against anyone, anything, in any culture across the world. How wonderful this way of life is, how open it is, and how universal it is. I believe that you yourself will get benefited by practicing such a way of life. Similarly, everyone will get benefited by this practice, of course, if they really do it. If they have never tried, they will not be benefited, even though they are Buddhists in the name. It is fair for everyone. Now you can see that faith is not necessary to practice this way of life. It does not mean that faith is rejected or removed, but this practice will leave faith as it is, without rejecting or accepting it, but wisely understanding as it is. Like a science, it will teach us both theory and practice together to experience its results and the fruits. Everyone who practices it will get benefits equally. It makes me feel satisfactory to learn and to practice it. When I did this. Restrict us, but opens to all. by warmly welcoming everyone who can learn it and can put into practice to directly experience with the result, but not by hearsay. In meditation retreat, it is much better to do because I can closely and compassionately lead everyone to achieve the goal, and also I patiently instruct everyone much in detail so that they can attentively practice with their own understanding how we should walk in everyday life. The Buddha teaches us, Gacchando va gacchando miti bhajanati. It means be mindful of walking while walking to clearly comprehend. Therefore, we must try to be mindful of the walk while walking. It is a great teaching, though it is simple. It is a very understandable and applicable, practical, and very much in touch with our day-to-day life. We should try it the best we can because it is not too far from us. Here once again, we are human beings. We must try our best to do whatever we can as we are human beings. Actually, animals cannot be mindful of the walk while walking, even though they are very closely taught by a well-trained expert on the technique, because animal has no extended knowledge like human being. We human beings are really precious one. We should not waste our precious time while we are alive here and now. We human beings can learn everything, can be well trained and taught by a very well trained expert on the subject. Why should we miss such a precious and valuable opportunity to learn? When I started realizing it at the retreat center, I felt so much ashamed by thinking that, I have missed such a simple and a great opportunity to do within myself. How many years I have walked like an animal being human. I did it for 15 days retreat at the first time. I got very well trained in the technique by intensive practice, by following their strict schedule and instructions very closely. I appreciated it very much because it touched my heart, giving me peace of mind. Normally, human mind is unnecessarily restless and not mindful of what we are doing at the moment. Such a condition consumes much of our energy, makes us tired and unhealthy way of life. Therefore, we should try to be aware of what we are doing at the moment if we really love ourselves. Here I need to explain a bit of my story for why I learned and practiced it by taking the retreat in the center. I wasn't quite so suffered for my deep attachment to my late mother because my mother died of breast cancer when I was 8 years old boy. I loved my mother so much and I did not want to lose her. You can imagine how the 8 years old boy who lost his beloved mother would feel at that time.